Hi, this is Sarah Rayner from craftingandstamping.com, and I'm here with my monthly thank you card, and in July it's been this little mosaic card with some mosaic embossing, mosaic DSP, and we've also got a little clay flower as well as our sentiment. So we'll start putting this together. We're going to need a 3.5 inch square of Pull Party, and we're going to want 2 pieces of Whisper White cut at 3 1/4 inch square, one for the card front and one for the insert. Our piece of DSP is cut at 1 5/8 inches by 3 1/4 inches to create the strip down the side. And then this little piece of Island Indigo card is approximately 3/16 inches wide, and it's 3 1/4 inches long. It doesn't need to be that precise, it's really just to provide a little decorative edge down the side there. The first thing that we need to do is emboss the card front, and I'm going to use the embossing folder with the Made in China logo face up to me. This provides the embossing and debossing effect that I'm after here, and I'm going to position this so that I get a full small element there, and I'm moving it right up to the middle of the larger one just there. So I'm going to go away and put that through the Big Shot. Now you can see that I can just fit on the embossing folder and the card front along the width of the Big Shot without having to do anything to spoil the card or the embossing folder. It will just fit in place. So now I've got my embossed card front. The next thing that I'm going to do is punch out one of these mosaics using the new mosaic punch designed to go with it. I'll just get that centered up so that you can see, and punch that out. Now I'm going to use that as a template on my card front to be able to work out where my sentiment's going. So just make sure that's opening the right way, and I'll get a pencil, that's centred on the card, and just make a pencil mark of where the mosaic shape is going. That's enough to be able to use. Now the sentiment that I'm going to use is actually from Pen & Parade, and it's the little thank you sentiment, and I'm going to use Island Indigo ink to go with it. So we'll just get that inked up, and you could use a Stamp-a-ma-jig for this. In fact, I think I will just quickly use a Stamp-a-ma-jig. But to be honest, you can probably do it by eye. I'm using the Stamp-a-ma-jig because I can't look at the card properly without getting my head in the way of the camera. So instead I'll just use the Stamp-a-ma-jig so that I know that I'm okay with it. There we go. Just give that a few minutes to dry off so that I don't smudge the ink when I erase the pencil marks. Now whilst the ink is drying, we'll start to put the other bits of the card together. So using the bit of DSP, I'm just going to run it around with Snail. And then I'm going to position it so that I'm going to be covering up these tiny bits here. You get a little bit more of a pattern on that side, and I'll just line that up with the edge of the card front there and press that in place. And then because this piece is so narrow, I actually find it much easier. I'm usually doing a batch of these anyway, I find it much easier to work with two pieces side by side like that. Holding them together, you can then run the snail down both pieces and pull them apart, and that's then ready for you to be able to stick down the edge there. Again, just going right up to the edge of the paper, just nudging it into place and fasten that down. Once the ink has dried, or if you're very careful, you can erase the pencil marks around the sentiment, just being careful not to smudge the ink if it is still wet. And then we're going to use some more snail, and I usually take it right up to the edges around the aperture, as well as around the edges of the card itself, and then we're just going to stick that centrally on the card front like that. Then this month we've got a plain card insert, and because it's pool party you could probably get away without an insert actually. I just think it finishes a card off nicely to have one in there. Get that nice and central. And then as a finishing touch, we're going to use one of these little clay flowers from our new Simply Pressed clay. This is the smallest flower. You can see that that pops in there. And this has been coloured with, this is actually Coastal Cabana reinker, because I found that when it gets diluted with the white of the clay, it actually drops back to more of a pool party colour. So I've used Coastal Cabana reinker with the Simply Pressed clay, and once that's been dried off overnight, you can simply add a little bit of Tombow multi-purpose glue and pop that on in the top corner mosaic like that, and there is our card for July. Thank you, and I hope you'll pop back soon. Bye.